All right. Let's get that started. Let's get this started. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Big Ball Vlogs. I do reviews, news, everyday vlogging, and every once in a while I'll do a tutorial. If this video is somewhat educational or entertaining, please consider smashing that like button and maybe subscribe to the channel for new videos when I post them. So I know I said I would get back to you really soon with a Dji Mavic Air 2 review, but I am still working on it. I'm still working through some of the settings and trying to formulate my words before I jump on camera and just give you some random clickbaity video that you really probably aren't interested in. I wanted to talk about something different. I mean, there are a couple of things that I've come across, but I'm going to make this video specifically about something that I found at least twice in one of the boards that I joined. Now, I'm going to give you a little secret to how I kind of get the inspiration to do these videos. Normally when a new product comes out, while I try to avoid all YouTubers videos because I don't want to regurgitate or say something that they've said, what I would normally do is jump on Facebook and find like a group that had the most subscribers and then join that group and then look for the most common concerns or questions and then kind of come up with some video about it. So I did that for the Mavic Air 2, and while on this board, who I'm not going to advertise for because I really didn't like the board, had about 9,000 plus subscribers, and I just saw some of the most irresponsible people with drones that I could probably ever come across. I'm sorry if any of you are watching this video right now, but I mean, the board itself was set up so that it was a private group so that you couldn't really see what was going on from the outside. But once you're on the inside, you see people who had these drones who didn't even read the instructions far enough to figure out what app to download, and then they immediately go up and start flying, and they post another video saying, hey, I'm at 1,000 foot up and 20,000 feet away, something crazy, violating all the rules and regulations. And if they hadn't read the instruction manual, and as I found out, they really didn't read any of the laws or bylaws for droning. And I'm like, hey, do you know how to fly a drone? Do you know the rules of flying a drone? Nah. And I sent them give them some links, and guess what? I'm the one who got my comments turned off because part of the bylaw said we don't police. We want to help each other grow. But I think that helping someone grow should also mean helping someone understand the rules so that they don't take away the board and the hobby that you're probably advertising and making money off of. But I digress. So my inspiration for this is to jump on these boards and find some of the most common questions or concerns and then come back to you to see what you think about it. And in this particular board, I found at least 2 or 3 people who said that their Dji Mavic Airs had fallen, Mavic Air 2s had fallen out of the sky. So I'm concerned about that because I am still kind of working with mine, and I see a couple of quirks that like I said, I'm hoping it will work themselves out with a firmware update. For instance, it doesn't seem to be as stable as previous drones. I was out flying in, just a gradual breeze, and as I watched the drone, while it didn't really show in the camera, I looked up at the drone and it was gradually drifting away from me. It didn't really hold its position like previous drones that I've had did. So I want to talk about that later, but in this particular board, like I said, I saw at least 3 people who claimed that their drones fell out of the sky. So immediately what I did was I jumped online to see if this was an issue. I did a quick Google search to see what the top comments were, using like the Google search where, when you type in words, it'll give you the most common searches for specific questions. And I didn't find anything about Dji Mavic 2 Airs falling out of the sky. Now, there have been previous drones that have fallen out of the sky. Yes, I've seen videos from people who have had Phantom 4s, who have had Mavic Pro 2s, who have had almost every DJI drone and have claimed that it has fallen out of the sky and had to go through some kind of warranty process with DJI. But me having the brand new latest greatest Dji Mavic Air 2, I was very concerned about whether or not I should attempt to even fly this thing right now because some of the bugs that I've been working with initially, I think were due to the fact that I'm using an Android phone. And when you're using an Android phone, usually the software doesn't work as good as an iPhone, but my iPhone has a little tiny screen and I really can't see what's going on that well. So I always use the Android. And also, since I use the Android for the majority of my droning, I didn't want to kind of swap back and forth between iPhone and Android because then it's another process of uploading from a different phone and maybe converting files and all that other stuff. So again, I went back, I did some research to see whether or not DJI drones or Dji Mavic Air 2s are falling out of the sky, and I didn't see anything. So I wanted to ask you guys, have any of you had any situations or issues where your drone has fallen out of the sky unexpectedly? And be honest with me, has it been because there was a problem with the drone, or was there a problem with the actual pilot? Was there user error here? Did you accidentally push in both sticks to the bottom trying to do some kind of reverse orbit and killed the motors and dropped it out of the sky and didn't know? I mean, be honest with me, because again, a lot of these problems turn out to be user error. When someone's drone lands in the middle of the Potomac or the Hudson River, they blame DJI, but what they really didn't know is that there was a no-fly zone up or a temporary flight restriction in that area, which caused the drone to land as soon as it flew inside of it. So for me, I went back again. I got this drone, and I haven't really done a lot of flight. I've gone through some of the settings. I've done some of the test flights. I want to do some video to kind of formulate my ideas on how well it works to give you a really good review when I do this review. And I can think of about 3 reasons why a drone would have fallen out of the sky that may not have been DJI's fault. And this normally happens for new pilots and people who are new to the hobby. The people who are in that board who didn't even read the instructions, who probably didn't go through all of the firmware updates and probably had an accident. So problem number 1 is probably going to be pilot error. Like again, I just gave you an example. To do specific maneuvers, especially if you're new to flying, you're kind of just banging those sticks around. You're banging them left, you're banging them right, you're banging them up, you're banging them down. You're trying to figure out which direction the drone's going to go as you push these sticks in different directions. But what you probably don't know, because you haven't read the instructions or you haven't even gone through the settings to actually see that there is an emergency kill feature, you probably push those sticks in the wrong direction, which is both bottom down in or both bottom down out, and killed the motors, and the drone actually fell out of the sky. And for you probably didn't know that was a feature, so you said, hey, my drone fell out of the sky, and now you're on the board telling everybody. And it's making guys like me who are extremely nervous about spending $1,000 on a new toy for a firmware update or a bug to crash it to go out and fly. Problem number 2, I just mentioned also, has to do with firmware updates. What most people don't know, especially if you're new to the hobby, is that when you get these drones, the firmware updates don't just they don't just update the drone, they also update the controller and they update the batteries. So a situation where a new pilot may have a problem with the batteries that they haven't updated is, hey, I just got this new drone, I want to go out and fly it really badly. Now I'm out at the field and it's saying, hey, there's a firmware update. Let's do it right now. And you're like, it happens to me, and I've been flying forever. I sit in the house, I turn it on, I go through a pre-flight check, I get it out to the field, and then all of a sudden it says, hey, there's a firmware update. So now I got to wait 20 minutes for this firmware update to happen, depending on the speed of your connection. So a new pilot's probably going to get out there and go, hey, I'm not going to do the firmware update right now. I'm going to wait till I get home to do it. And guess what? The batteries haven't been updated. That caused an error. And yes, your drone fell out of the sky. Unfortunately, that is also user error, because you have to go through and read the instructions and do the due diligence to make sure that you do everything to protect your investment. If you haven't done so, that's the consequence of flying a drone without following these procedures. Now, number 3, which, for me, I think maybe a questionable situation, but it could be possibly a DJI error or issue, but it also ties back to whether or not you did your homework or research, is that there may already be an ongoing issue like I am talking about right now that you haven't heard about, haven't done the research on. Drones are falling out of the sky. I know with the Phantom 4 series, the batteries were bad and drones are falling out of the sky. And in this situation, what I saw through random posts that probably didn't tie back to the actual firmware update issue, where people were questioning why these drones had different batteries. Some people were saying that their batteries didn't have white lettering on it, they were just gray. Some people said that their batteries had black lettering on it. Some people said that their batteries had white lettering on it. And people were questioning why there were so many different drones with different batteries. Now, I think, but I haven't done a lot of research, that has to do with the country that these drones were issued in. I know in the U.S., the U.S. drones also came up on the boards have AirSense, and drones that are sold overseas do not have AirSense. The reason for that is the U.S. FAA is putting down, stronger restrictions on flying drones, and DJI has sort of followed up with those restrictions, or come up with a way to kind of stay active in the marketplace with those restrictions by adding specific safety features like AirSense and Remote Pilot ID. Now, if there is an issue with batteries out there, again, if you have this issue and they struck you because, it happens to the best of us. You go out, you fire up your drone, and then bang, it falls out of the sky. Again, I think that is part of being in this hobby, where you have to do a lot of research to make sure that you are aware of all the situations and issues that are going on with a specific product. Now, let's just take this to, let's compare this to the airline industry. For me, I heard about specific airlines falling out of the sky. Literally, sorry about this terrible situation that happened, but there was a specific airline where they had about 2 or 3 crashes. Now, I'm going to do my research before I jump on a plane. I travel all over the place. I'm going to do my research before I jump on a plane to figure out what plane that was, what company made it, what flight I'm getting on before I get on the plane that probably will end up in the same situation as those other planes where they kind of had failures in their instrument systems and actually ended up crashing. I want to make sure I do not put myself in that situation. So what I do regularly is I follow through with, the DJI forums. I follow through with the YouTube videos, and I want to see if there are any situations out there that are going to impact my drone. And if there are, I'm going to stay as close as possible or as low to the ground as possible until I figure out whether or not they have been fixed before I go off and try to do a range test and end up putting this drone into the top of a tree or into a lake somewhere. Now, those are my 3 top reasons why a drone may have fallen out of the sky. Like, again, I have not found anything that says right now DJI has a defective product and they are falling out of the sky. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys to let me know if you've heard anything. But I want to know what you think about all of these drones falling out of the sky. Is it possibly that DJI has, again, released a product with some bugs that may have cost, people $700 to $1,000, or was it user error? Please leave us some comments below. I will get back to you soon with that review. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'll talk to you later. Bye.